Hi, so my name is Kay. I'm Kay Shepherd. I am the director of Leicestershire and Rutland Initial Teacher Training, as well as Leicestershire and Rutland Teaching School Hub. So I'm just going to talk to you today about applying to be a teacher, what it means, what it looks like, and sort of where to go. This is what we will cover today. And then after each section, I will pause and take any questions. Please do just pop them in the chat as they come along, and we can answer them after every section. So we're going to go over the different routes into teaching, what we offer at Leicestershire and Rutland Initial Teacher Training, application, top tips, how to even apply to be a teacher, and then next steps and getting some more experience. So when we're thinking about routes into teaching, I've covered here the 4 main routes. So the first thing you want to think about when you're looking at getting into teaching is these 2 acronyms at the top. There's loads of acronyms in teaching. I am sorry if I start to talk in them. Please do just call me out on it. So the first one is QTS, and that's going to be the most important one for you. So QTS is Qualified Teacher Status. Pretty much every course you're going to apply for is going to give you QTS, Qualified Teacher Status, and that just means that you can teach anywhere around the world and obviously in the UK. The second one is a PGCE. So your PGCE is your Postgraduate Certificate in Education, and that is the academic side of the teaching qualification. So for most courses, you will get QTS, Qualified Teacher Status, with a PGCE. If you get just QTS, you can still teach. That's absolutely no problem. It's just you can't teach abroad. So if you were ever thinking of teaching abroad, I'd go for something with QTS and a PGCE together, which is generally what you get in most places. The first route we're going to look at is the PGCE in your sort of more traditional settings, which is like a university setting. By the way, these are like super general. If you are thinking of applying, do like research the course, because they will vary from provider to provider. But in general, your PGCE with your university, you'll also get QTS and PGCE. It tends to be more lecture-based learning. So you're in big lectures, a lot like university that you might have experienced before. You will have some time in a placement school. University PGCEs tend to be larger cohorts, so obviously more people on your course. And the fees will apply to this. Fees this year are £9,250, and bursaries are available as well. So bursaries this year, they haven't been announced just yet for next year's trainees. This year range from 27,000 to 15,000, and they're in secondary subjects. There aren't any bursaries currently in primary or earlier subjects, but that might change when the DfE announces the bursaries for this year. The second route is the SCIT, which is School Centred Initial Teacher Training. So we are a SCIT. We do QTS and PGCE. If you're in a SCIT, most of your time will be in school. So if you are on our SCIT, we get you for 2 weeks at the start of the year, and you go into your home school, your placement school, and you come out sort of 1 day a week where you are either with us some of that time or you're learning on your own, doing online modules. But for the 4 days a week, you are in school. So on a SCIT, most of your time is in school with the kids, with your mentor, learning that way. It tends to be smaller cohorts. So SCITs are a nice place if you want to be with the smaller cohort, really get to know the people you're with, and the people who are running your course also get to know you really, really well. There are obviously some huge SCITs that run We don't have huge cohorts. We have nice smaller cohorts, so we really get to know you. And the fees and bursaries that are available for the PGCE are also available for any skate route you might choose. The next route could be a school direct or an apprenticeship route. You get QTS with these, and with some of them you get a PGCE, but with others you don't. So if you are thinking about going down the school direct or apprenticeship route and want to teach abroad in the future, or if you think actually the academic element is really important to me, just double check if you're going for a school direct or apprenticeship route. In this, most of your time will be in school with some sort of online support. You tend to be on a school direct or apprenticeship route on your own. In some cases, you might be in a school with another trainee, but it tends to be sort of a solo affair. And fees and bursaries are available, and also there's some paid routes if you go down the apprenticeship or school direct route. And the last one, is the Teach First training programme. With that, you get QTS and a PGDE. A PGDE is 1 more year than a PGCE, and it's a diploma in education, and it means you get more credits if you did want to do a master's later on. You get class teacher responsibility from September, so you're literally in there from September the 1st as the class teacher. It tends to be in school alone or with maybe one other trainee, and that is a salaried route. So if you are really looking for a salaried route, that is the way to go, but it is the route where you are whole class responsibility from day one. So just pause there to ask if there's any questions about any of those routes. If you want to pop them in the chat, I'm happy to have a look. Oh, that's no problem. I will continue to sort of look at the chat. Oh, got one. How long is the Teach First programme? It is 2 years, because it's a PGDE, so it's 2 years. Okay, so what we offer is we work with Teach First. So what we have is Teach First curriculum. Teach First are national experts in education. They have run training for many years and are outstanding Ofsted Teach First provider training providers. So we have their curriculum, but we run a skit route, which means with us you get all the great Teach First curriculum. However, you will start and build up that teaching time. You're supernumerary, which means you're an extra person in the classroom, and you learn with your mentor, taking on from like taking little groups and starters and plenaries to building up teaching 4 days a week by July, and you get your PGCE and QTS that way. So the subjects that we're offering are early primary, which is the age range of 3 to 7, so sort of your early years. Primary, your standard garden variety primary school children, 5 to 11. And then in secondary, we offer maths, English, chemistry, and RE. If you were really interested in working in a special school or in an alternative provision, such as a pupil referral unit, we are also a teaching school hub, which means we've got really great links to sort of 300 schools across Leicestershire and Rutland, and we can place you for your main placement in a special school. So if you are interested in that, then please do ask. Don't think, oh, we don't do special schools. This is who we are. So I'm the director of the skit. You might have come across Louise if she's given you the link to this webinar. She is our relationships and admin, so she will look after you sort of from the moment you apply all the way through to the moment you graduate. If you've got any questions, Louise will be there. Kat is our primary lead, absolute expert in primary, and Claire is our secondary lead, and they will deliver your seminars and come and visit you in schools at least once a half term to sort of check out how you're getting on and give you any tips. This is what the journey would look like if you were with us. So you'd apply between now and July. You find out your place. We have you for 2 weeks, which is my favourite 2 weeks at the start of September, where we front load lots of your training and you go and see loads of different schools, which is really cool. Then you start your training in your core placement or your home placement. You'll be there for 2 terms. Then we have you back in January for a week again, doing a bit of training for you. And then you'll start in a broader school experience, so a second school placement. You'll go for 6 weeks to get an idea of a different school. You'll go back to us after Easter for a week, and then you'll finish your year in your home placement and get your PGCE and QTS. Along the way, there are some modules and 2 assignments to get your PGCE with our partner Sheffield Hallam University. And what's really great about our programme is when we have you all together, we have links with a whole variety of schools. We try and get you in as many places as possible. So, for example, next week our trainees are going to see a nursery setting, they're going to see a pupil referral unit, we are going to see a special school, a hospital school, inner cities, sort of rural schools. We really try and get you that mixture of schools, so when you're applying for jobs, you know what to expect. This is Kat, our lovely second primary lead, delivering a session to our current trainees. This is, in a nutshell, 4 weeks of intensive placement training with us. Really high quality training, week to week, subject focused conferences, expert training designed by Teach First, all of those different settings that I've just talked about. You'll be in school for the majority of time with a mentor who is really well trained. We run a mentor curriculum alongside your curriculum to make sure that your mentor is really well placed and well trained to support you. You get a QTS and PGC at the end of it. It's Andy, one of our maths trainees, doing some practice. This is the room where we do all of our intensive placement. And this is how you'll be supported as a trainee, and then your mentor gets support on the other side as well. So as you can see, we really support you and we really support our trainees. And why Teach First? So their national expertise match really well with our established local delivery. It's a great programme. Our mentors and trainees absolutely love it. We get super feedback. And it's a really subject and phase specific curriculum. They're the largest ITT provider in the country. It makes absolute sense to go with them. 20 years of experience, and their mission to make an education system work for every child really chimes with where we are. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat, answer some questions, but if you've got any other questions, then please let me know. So someone has put, it runs by themselves. The only thing that has stopped me getting into teaching sooner is the fact that I have to survive an £11,000 grant from student finance. Apart from going into the Teach First route, is there any more finance solutions? So it depends what subject you want to teach, Carla, but actually there is a tax-free grant for subjects such as maths, chemistry, which is £27,000 tax-free, which equates to more than a £30,000 salary once you take your tax and pension and things. So depends on subject, but there are definite bursaries out there if you were going to teach in secondary. If you want to teach in primary, that's a little bit more tricky. I completely get that. But yeah, the student grant would be there. I mentioned teaching in special schools. Is there an option to work in a mainstream school, working in a SEND department? Absolutely. All of our trainees will get experience working with the SENCOs, working with small nurture groups, working in departments within the school in a SEND environment. So yeah, there's definitely scope there to work in mainstream, but see the SEND element there as well. Are there any more questions? Oh, we do have a school for the deaf. We have one school for the deaf that we work with, so yeah, we could look to place there. So I'm going to move on to top tips for applications. So as you might have seen, the subjects are now live, so you can find all our courses online, and you can start writing your personal statements. We read, or I read, loads of these every year to call you in for interview. So these are my golden rules for writing a personal statement. Please be genuine. Like, what I'm not looking for is somebody's idea of what a teacher should be. All of the trainees that we have are genuine, and they need to be themselves. Children need you in front of them. What children don't need is you trying to be a teacher. They just need you. So be genuine, talk about what you're going to bring, not what you think I want to hear. I want to get to know you, not a generic sort of cookie cutter teacher. Every child needs a genuine teacher, and that's what I'm looking for. Be specific. So try and give really clear examples about what you've achieved or what you've done, and really think about the impact that's had, whether it's on a small group of kids that you've worked with, or whether you have worked in, observed a lot of lessons, or done some reading or some volunteering in a group. Give really clear examples, be specific on what you've done and what impact that's had. And sort of finally do your research, so know what type of course you're applying for and talk about why it would suit you best. So if you're applying for a skit, talk about you're really excited to, you know, join a skit and be part of a small cohort and be really valued in that cohort, and that's how you're going to learn best. If you want to join a university, talk about, you know, you're looking for the whole seminars and the big cohorts and more time in lectures. Find out what you're applying for and be specific. That'll also help you with the interview stage. So here's a basic structure that you can use when you are writing that personal statement. So first of all, the why. Why do you want to teach? Like, I don't need a full-on life story, don't overkill, but a really clear first few sentences about why you want to teach, what's inspired you, what you want to get out of it is a really great opening. So what do you want to teach next? So what specifically about English or maths or primary really excites you, and show your passion and enthusiasm for your subject. How, so how the experiences you've had so far, either in your own education or working with children, prepared you to be a teacher. And who, so who are you? What are you going to bring to the classroom? What is unique about you, and what are you really going to bring to inspire those people that you teach? And if you get that basic structure right, I think it will lend itself to the interview as well. We try and sort of minimize as many barriers as we can. Like, teaching is tricky, so let's not make it more difficult than it has to be. So when you get accepted to interview with us, we will send you the questions that we're going to ask you. There's absolutely no guesswork. If you are asked to interview, I will send you, these are the questions I'm going to ask you. You can prepare for those questions, and then I'll ask you them in the interview. And this is a really good way to prepare for those questions, but most routes don't send you the questions in advance. And I would still say that these are questions that will often come up in lots of interviews. So what about the private sector as an option to teach in these schools? Yeah, absolutely. We work with a number of independent schools, independent nurseries. So if you were keen to train in an independent school, that's absolutely fine. We can do a main placement or the next placement in an independent school, especially if you've got one in mind that you'd like to work in. Are there any other questions about your writing your personal statement or anything like that? There's not a maximum word count. I've never seen one with a maximum word count. However, it doesn't need to be pages and pages. I'd say probably a page of A4 would be more than enough. I have received applications with 2 or 3 sentences and sent them back to say, you've not demonstrated anything here. I need to see a little bit more. So more is better than less, but don't worry about it being sort of reams and reams. So when you apply, you can apply for up to 4 courses at the same time, and that means 4 different providers. So you can apply for us, for a university, for another skate, and for an apprenticeship. You can apply for 4. You will have to provide details about your GCSEs, A-levels, and degree. You must have or be in your final year of studying for a degree to train to be a teacher. You don't have to have finished your degree, but you have to be in your final year and have your degree certificate, or at least your final grade, before you start, just to be clear about that. If you want to teach primary, you will need English, maths and science GCSEs at the C or above. If you teach secondary, you will need English and maths, that's English language at C and above, and obviously the subject that you want to teach. A-levels, we look for the subject you want to teach or an equivalent, and degree has to have either a direct link to the subject you want to teach or enough content in that subject that it's relevant. So for example, our maths trainees, you might have an engineering degree or a finance degree, got loads of maths in, so that will sort of lend itself to teaching maths. So you enter your qualifications, you'll put your work experience in. What we're looking for is I can't have any gaps. So in your when you go to put everything in, you need to just say, since you left school, I've been at uni. If you've left school, did college, went to uni, and now you're here, brilliant. If you've had a gap, just let me know what you were doing in that gap. Even if it was, I went traveling in a gap year, took some time out to look after my children, whatever that gap is, just for safeguarding, I need to know that you were doing something wholesome and not something dodgy. So don't leave any gaps when you're doing that. And you'll pop in your personal statement, ask for any support if you're disabled or need any adjustments, absolutely no problem. And then references of 2 people who can give you a reference when you apply. Any questions on any of those things? It's a bit of a whirlwind. So when you apply on gov.uk. So you go apply for teacher training, the website's there, and you'll create an account on there. Then you can search for courses. So our course codes I'll put up at the end are, you can just search those and apply straight to them. You can write everything in now, and then applications open at 9 AM on the 10th of October. So these are all our course codes. So can you see it says like early primary J567? That's a course code. So whichever course code you want, you can search using that, and then you can find us straight away. But they're also all on our website if you want to go through that as well. If you were keen on having more of a taster visit, bit of a refresher, you've not been in school since you were a student there, we do taster days, so you can observe some lessons, meet some pupils, we'll talk to your teachers, chat to our trainees, and I'll be there. You can find out a little bit more about the course, what day-to-day life will be like as a trainee. So we've got one on the 14th of November at St Paul's in Leicester, and one for primary on the 21st of November at Sacred Heart in Loughborough. So if you are keen, like, please do come along, have a find out, spend a bit more time in school, talk with pupils, talk to teachers, and you can find out sort of what's going on. Yeah, you can do a taster day sort of whenever you like. That's absolutely no problem at all. So if you do want any more information, these are all our contact details. So give us a call, drop us an email. There's loads of information on our website. So I'm always really keen to talk to potential trainees, and so is Louise and Kat and Claire. So please do get in touch even if you think your question's silly. That is it from me. I'll stop the recording, but what I will do is hang around and answer any more questions.